Planning Commission podcast is a spirited discussion with myself and a couple of my longtime colleagues in the profession. Our discussions are based solely on our own opinions and do not reflect the opinions or views of our employers, the American Planning Association, or even our alma maters. So grab a seat in the back of City Hall, dig out an old copy of Robert's Rules, and for goodness sakes, read your packet. The Planning Commission is now in session.
Ho, ho, ho. Welcome, everybody, to another episode, the final episode of 2020, I guess. It's all a blur. 2023 is fast upon us. But
those
the
of us
last
who work
episode...
in planning are always in future years, so we never know what the hell year it actually is.
Federal fiscal year 2023, and we just closed out federal fiscal year 2023.
Yeah, state fiscal year 2023. Yeah.
Working on grants for 4 years from now. Absolutely. All right. Well, today's episode, Scrooge had to be a planner.
100%.
Today's episode is our end of year, our first end of year. So it's official. Christmas episode. We're going to do a little bit of looking back and looking forward. Who's been naughty, who has been nice, and everything in between. But yes, Scrooge had to have been a planner. I mean, he looked back in time, he looked forward in time, he did a lot of reflecting, right? But at first he was really hard on everybody, didn't want to prove anything. Maybe had an epiphany. Did he go to a charrette? Did Scrooge go to a charrette?
Yes. Maybe. It was that dinner he went to, and you know what? All I can think of is the Disney version where it's Scrooge the Duck, McScrooge.
Oh yes.
McDuck,
Oh yeah. I had all the stuffed McDonald's like ornaments that they gave with Happy Meals when that came out. I think Cratchit was always late with his staff reports. I mean, what do you expect?
That's the problem.
That's fair. That's fair.
They were
I don't think Scrooge didn't give out, gold dollar coins at the end. It was stickers, planning stickers. Here's your sticker, right? Put it on the map. Put it on the vote.
Subway sandwiches.
Yes. Yes. Got to have it Subway. No doubt. All right.
Tray.
Our first order of business before we get into our discussion on Christmas is our meeting minutes from last meeting, right? Joe Minicozy. Any observations from the minutes?
First of all, he was so engaging, and I didn't know. My expectations are like this when we interview planners. I don't know why.
Thought he was gonna be just boring as hell and lame.
Joe's always been the Energizer bunny out there with this stuff. And when I had breakfast with him last time when he was here in Boise, he's got that laptop up going from slideshow to slideshow on all that stuff. He was actually pretty tame.
That was really
showing the wait staff their return on service and
I loved it. I love
it.
Those
eggs return a much higher profit than the bacon per square foot.
Yeah.
I mean, our listeners probably don't really know this because maybe it doesn't show up, but we actually have a plan for each of our episodes, and we have questions we're going to ask and stuff. But when he came on, I was just like, I think we should just let him go. Like, I don't have any questions. Just keep showing me cool pictures. Yeah, it was
How
awesome.
many? It made me realize
we had 3 questions. That was it. 3.
I know him and Jeff, and I'm guessing somebody else, maybe Mark. I don't know. Any of our guests have done a TED Talk. I mean, we're reaching that crowd, right?
We should do
I think
a TED
that's
Talk.
A pretty good. Yeah, they aren't going to let us in.
We could call it let's call it a Tommy Talk. We could do a little Tommy Boy impression. That would start it all. Yes, everybody will love it.
All right. Well, Joe Minicozy, if you haven't watched it, to our listeners, to our viewers, shame on you. You're going to learn a lot.
You're on the naughty list.
So. Yeah, you're on the naughty list for 2023 already. So, all right, meeting minutes, we're approving. Yep, we're moving. Okay, on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda. Let's talk a little bit about next year. At least some teaser, right? That's what we're doing here. We've got some good people lined up, y'all. I want you to know that. You want to talk transit? We're going to talk transit from a leading planner from the biggest city in America. Now, if people are thinking, Right now, see, there's the condition. I was getting there. Most people would think, oh, New York or nope, Jacksonville, Florida.
I was going to say, isn't it a city in Florida like Cape Coral or Jackson?
It is. So Tara Crawford will be joining us to talk all about how to plan for transit in America's largest footprint city, starting off in January. Roger Millar, Secretary of Transportation, Mr. Secretary himself at Washington DOT, has quite the experience from a smaller resort town in Idaho and now leading a sizable transportation agency. That ought to be fun, right? Nate Hood, I just booked Mr. Hood. Oh man, this is going to be fun. So we are going to dissect the heck out of a planning commission meeting itself, the planning and zoning commission itself. Staff reports, what makes a good one, right? How to communicate with a commission, but also how should the commission communicate with the public, and what tips can we give the public? Nate is a standing planning commissioner from St. Paul, Minnesota, and happens to also be, ready, a stand-up comedian. So
sweet.
The dream job. It's the dream job.
It is. I expect some pretty awesome things.
I got to get like a good comedy club bourbon for that one. That's going like ancient age or something like that.
We are going to talk about affordable housing. We're going to talk with Mike McGinn, the executive director of America Walks, and we've got a few others in the pipeline already that I'm pretty excited about, man. And so we're going to kick off 2023 with a bang and get everything going really on the right foot. And so I'm looking forward to that. All right, discussion item before we get to the whiskey pairing. Commissioners, why do you deserve a present from Santa? What did you do this year in the wonderful world of planning to warrant such a treatment?
I'll go first.
You never do, so this is gonna be good. Go ahead.
I paid my AICP.
Wow, that's the bar, huh?
Winning.
How would Santa Claus react?
I am going to get the Journal of American Planning or whatever it's called every month virtually, or, whatever PDF version, they had to cut some costs there. Because you guys kept quitting. That's what happened. Yeah. So
okay,
I'm on the nice list.
Santa is granting you a present, and it's going to be a whole new batch of stickers, I guess. Is that what you're asking for? Something else? I don't know.
So maybe a couple of more letters after my name, to impress my clients.
All right. Don, you got anything good? What have you done this year to get something special from Santa Claus?
I don't know. It might. I think it depends on which side of the tree people are coming from on this one. Was in a discussion recently, and for some reason, and my brain, I went to all the technical facets of mailboxes and sidewalks and what might be an ADA violation with that. And it turns out most of our planning codes and most of our mailboxes that don't sit in a sidewalk buffer but are actually in the sidewalk buffer represent protruding objects, and thus an ADA violation. And that has made it out amongst the airwaves, amongst advocates and others, and interesting. So I said it was opening up a can of worms. So somebody asked me if I needed more can openers. So maybe that's what I should get from Santa.
So if Donald Shoup is getting parking lots at massage parlors named after him, I guess Donald Kostelik is getting a whole new bunch of mailbox standards nationwide, coast to coast.
Yeah.
This will forever hereforth be called the Kostelik.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, if Louis DeJoy didn't get fired for all the postal service crap during the last election, now revealing that most mailboxes are ADA violations, maybe that will finally put the last nail in that one.
How many mailboxes do you think there are in this country that are going to be substandard and thus a violation? I mean, there's 100,000 or 100 million households, at least 150 probably million, right?
Pretty
at
much
least half.
If it's in the sidewalk and it sticks off the back of the post by 4 inches or more, protruding object.
Oh my goodness.
Damn, I guess I got to go check mine. Shoot.
Yeah,
Mine
What
was
are the-
on in the last, house I owned. Mine was on my house. Like it was a little,
that's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, and a
that's
buffer's
good.
fine, even if it's behind the
Yeah.
sidewalk, it's fine.
My
But if it's in the
mailman
sidewalk
walked around. I mean, like there was
in
no,
Florida,
yeah.
Oh.
how is he still alive?
Right.
I don't know. People down there different. They have
That's some Man, that's some serious
different
sweating.
blood. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
he was in great shape.
Yeah,
You'd have to be.
Yeah. He
I'd
knocked on my
imagine so.
door when he was afraid the middle schoolers down the street were going to steal my packages, which was kind of funny because usually what was in those packages would have been
Did he knock every
really
day?
would've-
Was he like, hey, I'm really concerned. I'm going to knock day after day after
I'm
day.
just like, I'm working. It was funny.
All right.
Do you think they would have
Okay.
known what to do with it if the middle schoolers opened it up? Was it that
Probably
out of
not.
left field? Or-
Maybe they would have had to read some instructions.
Oh, okay. Oh, and they can't do that. So
It was the
Yeah.
magnet school, and it was like the fine arts school. So you might be right, but I think
Oh.
they could, they could read scripts and things, and they had like a coding program. I don't know, they're pretty bright. I was just always confused because they look like in middle school, and I guess I didn't know any middle schoolers. They all look like little adults. All the girls did, and I was like, what? I was there's the tiniest version of a grown woman, and I was like, is that what I looked like in middle school? I just remember like the high school seniors looked like grown-ups, but of course back then they had like, some amazing perm hair and those feather bangs and stuff. So that'll really age you. Anyway.
That was you, except for you were ham radioing it up.
Yeah, no,
off
no, I'm
time.
too young to have had that haircut. Come on, I was a little kid. That's what my babysitters looked like.
Well, I think for me, I'm going to make this real easy and probably the obvious one, but I'm pretty damn proud of what we're doing here, right?
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, we
forgot
can't
about
just,
that.
I think we should probably acknowledge that.
Top 10% of Buzzsprout.
That's
Oh,
right.
I know.
Top 100 government podcasts.
Dear
Wait.
listener.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Explain.
That's a good
What
one,
do you mean
Commissioner
we're in the
Danley.
top? What do you mean the top 10 of Buzzsprout? What
Top
does that mean?
10% of
Okay.
Buzzsprout's podcast.
Buzzsprout, who for listeners and YouTube viewers who are watching this, that's the platform by which we load our audio version, and then it's distributed to Apple and Amazon and all of that. So they have 100 and almost 20,000 podcasts that they oversee.
Mhm.
And this podcast is in the top 10% of downloads of all of their catalog. So, and I think that if you actually took our YouTube as well and our Facebook, we'd probably be in about the 7% range. I don't think that's bad for three idiots who don't know what the
No.
hell they're doing, talking about planning. Like, it's not
Listen.
exactly the most riveting stuff in the world, but there's people who care. And I mean, the man on the plan in the video behind Don's, shoulder
Man on the
is
plan.
evidence of that. That's really well done, by the way.
Oh,
But
thank you.
Chris, I'm really concerned about that because that means that there are 12,000 podcasts in the top 10%.
Well, we're trying. we're climbing the rankings, best we can.
It also
Oh,
means
listeners, help us out.
expectations.
Yeah. So that's I think I'm going to go with that for the year, and hopefully Santa agrees. So let's change topics and go on to our next discussion item. The whiskey pairing for Scrooge had to be a planner. Don, what do you got for us?
Well, I'm going something warm for the season. Jess is up in Alaska. They've been getting hit by snow. We're recording this on a day in Boise with a rare school day off for snow. And also maybe a tribute to Commissioner Danley and why he deserves something more than a bucket of coal this year. I'm going to go with the Corsair
Oh,
Wildfire.
is that the Blues Brothers?
No, there's an interesting story about this. I was at the Corsair Distillery in October, took a tour and a cocktail class from them. And the founder of the distillery, it's in Nashville, Tennessee, was outside of a pub in Scotland one night, and there was this wedding party, and as he's standing out in the alley or something getting a smoke or something, these three dudes came waltzing out of the bar and just with this attitude, and that logo reflects what he saw that night.
Pretty cool.
So yeah,
it's a good
Blues Brothers.
It kind of
Some
does.
attitude.
It also looks like they also joke. It looks like they're wearing like COVID masks, and it's been that way for years, but it's actually not the case. It's just what they did in the artwork.
Yeah.
But if you've never had any of the delights from Corsair Distillery, it's
If
fantastic
any of
top to bottom.
the whiskeys you've mentioned over the course of our now 20 episodes ever wants to sponsor us, I am super good with Corsair being that distillery.
Super good.
We love you. Come on, bring it. We'll keep supporting you.
Well,
All right.
and I am here in Alaska for Christmas this year because, oh my gosh, flights are ridiculous. So all alone,
Oh
if someone
man.
would send me some whiskey.
Oh, little brown jug isn't doing it for you.
Actually, and I'll just tag this under our whiskey pairing. I've been doing a lot of G&Ts, and I am telling you, it is an excellent Christmas cocktail. There's a gin called Empress, and it's like purple in the bottle, but when you mix it with tonic water, it turns blue.
Oh,
And
yes, I've seen that. Yes, Corsair actually had one of those gins when we were down there. And I'm happy to see like the gin cocktails becoming popular and a little more dominant, because maybe that means whiskey demand will go down.
Yeah, a little bit. So you could have a little more in your pantry over there. Holy cow. All right.
All
On
right.
that
Well,
note.
with that, let's get on to our action item of the episode, which is all about Christmas. We're going to do a little bit of reflecting ourselves. What went well and what went horribly wrong? Who gets coal, right? And who else in our planning industry really does deserve some good presents? Let's start with the fun one. Let's start with the coal. Who gets coal? Don, it sounds like you have a good example. Why don't you start us off?
Yeah, so actually I found a great piece written by our friend James Braswell at Planetizen on basically the title was "Stop Trusting Elon Musk on Tunnels, on Teslas, on Everything." And actually not gonna get on the Musk bucket of coal. It's going to be about the elected officials across the country and those within like the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration that keep believing this guy. We know the full self-driving for Tesla is junk. It's causing all kinds of crashes and deaths. The Boring Company and all the Hyperloop stuff has sucked millions of public money away from places. I remember reading like the MPO in San Antonio was somehow all over this to get, you know, a Hyperloop from the airport to downtown. And it's like, can you get a functional bus system to start with? So for all the innovation and all the good stuff from SpaceX and electric vehicles, you know, the elected officials that keep fawning over this hype machine, yet we refuse to build basic things like sidewalks. They get my bucket of coal for the year.
Where to go with the good old Elon, man? Boring wormholes under our cities, promising the world's going to change, you know, little by little or every, you know, quicker. And now space travel. So he's trying to get it. I mean, I don't know what to make of all that, right? It's just, I think that people have fell in love with his personality. He has delivered, obviously, on some things, many things. So, but in the world of transportation,
space travel stuff,
like,
certainly cutting the cost on tunnel boring, electric vehicles, all of that is great stuff that's worthy of all the accolades and things. But it's, sorry, you don't have a self-driving car. This Hyperloop thing, that the Vegas one is great because they're just like, it's a bunch of cars going slowly in a tunnel. It's like the Wedway People Mover at Disney World. If you were ever on that machine, it's a total gimmick. And these elected officials keep falling for it. Yet we can't build sidewalks or get basic bicycle infrastructure in places, but we're stumbling all over ourselves for this. So there's mine.
Yeah, I like it. I think that's definitely worthy of coal. Jess, you got one? If you don't, I've got one. I'm ready to rock.
I want you to go ahead because I'm looking for a picture of my one that delivers, and I've almost got it.
Well, so mine is, I think, probably getting coal almost on an annual basis. And it's interesting because I too am going to cite James, our good friend James, because trying to find some things, you know, out there, and I was able to stumble across yet an article that he wrote recently. My recipient of the Planning Commission podcast lump of coal award, first inaugural, is none other than the Texas DOT.
Oh,
All right, why?
woo.
Well, first of all,
Which of the dozen
my
cities?
God, I know. If you've seen the images, I think it's in San Antonio, the freeway that is expanding out to like 23 lanes. And you see the pictures and you're just going, how on earth are we still falling for this? But yet, no, this one is actually for yet another project. And I'll read just a little snippets here, but Texas DOT will soon begin construction of the $1.6 billion Southeast Connector, one of the state's largest ever investments in transportation infrastructure. So it's going to a stretch of highway that now sees 200,000 trips a day and is expected to increase to 370,000 vehicles a day by 2045. Now, let's just pause right there, because anybody in the planning profession who believes that should probably exit the planning profession real quick, because you don't understand what goes into these wonderful models, these trip generation models, and expecting, oh, of course, why would it not just almost double, with all of the assumptions that we make? But nevertheless, there's that. Then he talks about how it's going to expand 11 miles of the road front. It's going to go from 8 lanes to 10 in one section, and then from 4 to 8 in another. And so, and all these other things. But my favorite part, I think, of the whole piece is this following statement. Texas DOT produced a finding of no significant impact for the final environmental assessment published in September of 2020. I mean, so it's one of the most largest infrastructure projects in the history of the state, right? And it's in an incredibly busy part of the state, in Fort Worth area, Arlington, and yet you're going to tell me there's nothing to see here.
That shows what a joke our federal funding processes are. And anytime a DOT refers to a project as a connector, you can rest assured that it's going to disconnect a lot of people.
Yeah. It even talks about how they're, on record as trying to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and on and on. So you're just,
what kind of options? So this is my thing about the EAs and the EA Fonzie stuff. Like, what's the other option if you don't get a Fonzie? Like, project's dead, right? Am I misunderstanding?
We had this in Asheville, where the I-26 connector, again, we called it the disconnector, went through all this environmental charade to even have the Federal Highway Administration North Carolina office say, well, we're here to serve at the pleasure of the DOT. They don't even see themselves as representing the citizens or the adequate use of their money. It's there to help the DOT get.
Oh, you lost him. Oh, there we go. Go ahead.
That was the North Carolina DOT just like interjecting.
I'm sure it was.
They have a thumb button.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Mute him, quick.
Yeah, there's a red phone ringing in Raleigh. Right.
They're like, Constulate's on the warpath again.
Oh, they just let it ring anymore. They're just like, whatever. Don't answer that anymore. Just cut the line. All right. Well, enough with that. Jess, who gets your lump of coal?
Okay. Can I please share my screen? It says I can't, but I want to share with you.
I think this is going to become a thing where we're going to start utilizing technology in a much better way. Okay, you should be good to go. Go for it.
Well, I'm gonna share this with y'all, and here's the thing.
Oh yes.
This is a transit station toilet in Switzerland. And this poor Girl Scout or whatever this is, she's making the face that I made when I discovered these. So let me walk you all through this. First of all, I'd like one of you who haven't seen this before, or you're just looking at this, to describe this for our listeners.
I got you. All right. We have a young lady with brilliant red hair. She looks like she's about 16 or so. And she's inside what appears to be a portable or some sort of a, quasi-portable restroom that is completely stainless steel.
Yes.
And it has a massive hole and a toilet seat that is pulled up. Clearly a man was in there prior to the young lady, I suspect, right? And there's the evidence of it. And her hand is over her stomach with a grimaced look, as if it's painful and probably has an odor that is causing the reaction as well. So there you go. Is that descriptive enough? There's
That's
also
pretty
really good
good.
traction. The flooring is amazing.
Oh,
Look
yeah.
at
The floor's
like
great,
it's a
actually.
total non-skid. You're not going anywhere on that sucker.
So this is a transit station toilet that I saw. I saw it, it might be other places, but I saw these at the transit stations where the trains, and then you run over to a bus or whatever. It works just like clockwork. I mean, a Swiss clock, it's that name for a reason, because I tell you what, they are on it. And if you do not hustle, you're going to miss your connection. Although I did learn from my planner friend Christy over there that the way that they time the difference between your connections is they time someone that's a little bit older and it kind of further in their years and how long it takes them to walk.
Wow.
And and I'm just like, wow, Nana's really hustling. So I can't keep up with Nana over there, but I did my best. And the best part was, at the time, Christy had just had some surgery. she was on crutches, and boy, she was always ahead of me. And I'm like, I thought that if she was injured, I could keep up with her, but no, she is Energizer Bunny. Okay, so yes, it's all stainless steel. I don't know if they're mobile or not, Chris, but it does look like you could move them around. But they seem to be stationary. And you open this door, you got to put your Swiss franc in, right? And you open the door, and what you see is this huge bowl, and that toilet seat part that's flipped up. It's not flipped up because there was a gentleman in there before. The reason it's flipped up is, you see that little knob sticking out of the side of the wall with the green around it?
You can hover? It's meant to
No.
hover? Oh, okay.
For those listening right now and not seeing the picture, they're going, wait, there's a knob going through the wall in a bathroom? What is happening?
There's it's like it looks like just like a piece of stainless steel
Yes.
pipe sticking
Okay,
out.
gotcha.
It is a spigot. It's a water spigot. And below it is a little soap dispenser. And so what's happening is that
Okay.
bowl doubles
As
as a sink.
Oh.
So you have to flip the seat up so that it doesn't spray on the sink when you're washing your hands. So you flip the seat down, you sit there and you do your business, then you flip the seat up.
Is there a water fountain too?
And this is getting your cold? Like, this is a bad idea.
Oh, I was thinking like this looks a million times better than any restroom at any transit station in the United States.
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you a story going to a Falcons game in Atlanta, and my friend Jason had to go really, really bad because he had too much Miller Lite on the drive down there. And at the Chamblee Tucker station, that thing hadn't been touched since the Carter administration.
Well, listen, the reason it gets
when he was
cold
governor
is because this dumb American girl, me, I couldn't figure out what was going on. And so I left the seat part down, and I'm trying to wash my hands. The water's going everywhere. I've cleaned my hands and the toilet seat, and I'm just like,
so maybe you get the lump of coal.
Yeah.
You didn't know how to work a Swiss Army restroom. I mean, come on.
Oh my gosh. And the funny thing was that Christy thought this was so funny that she did not warn me. She was just like, I'm going to show you the weirdest toilet ever. And she was just like, here's get in there, go in there, good luck. And I was just like, this is not fair. Please tell me what's going on. And she just locked me in there and waited for me to go. And,
the last thing that they thought before they put this out on the streets was, I think even an American can figure this out, right? Oh, how you overestimate us.
Yeah.
Even an engineer.
Right.
Nope.
Right.
Nope. Like it's one of those things, and this is why it gets the planning lump of coal, is because it's one of those things that in theory really makes sense. And it works, but it's one of those things that goes, this doesn't work.
I also see you coming back from this fabulous trip to a beautiful country, showing people your pictures, and then you're one of the first ones you show them is that.
Look at this
right?
toilet.
You're just like, look at this toilet. Wow, you really know how to party when you're overseas, man. Like the architecture, the history, the food. Nope. stainless steel porta-john.
Oh,
That's what
Kristen
that's
and
what,
I just spent a
what
lot
did you
of time on
expect from a
transit stops.
what did you expect from a military neutral country? I mean,
Oh.
come on.
It was amazing, and everything was
Yeah.
so clean, and it really didn't smell bad in there. So yeah,
That's
What
good.
ply was
That's
the
good.
toilet paper?
Oof.
I
Probably-
feel like
it's
there
the
was also
Swiss, it's
like a
probably
bidet,
quad.
and there was
Yeah.
a thing. I don't know. It was a
Well,
They
lot.
this
didn't
one
even
is-
have toilet paper.
It was planning related. I was in a Dollar Tree one time, and there's this mother in there, had a young daughter, definitely, kindergarten or younger, and the daughter really had to go to the bathroom. And she's like, "Do you have a public restroom?" And the lady's like, "No, we don't." She's like, "How do you not have a public restroom?" Like, well, generally, and I'm giving her the planning lecture, that's generally based on square footage and the type of use of the place. So a general store like this is probably not going to have a public restroom. And I get this weird look. I said, "Besides, would you really trust the toilet paper they put in the restroom of a Dollar Tree?"
Yeah. Yeah. It's
I mean,
bad
think
news
about
right
that.
there. It's bad news. All right. Well, let's go from coal to, I don't know, what, mistletoe? Maybe that's a good one, or a really awesome, amazing present.
Aw.
Did your parents ever do like the scavenger hunt? They gave you a clue and went to the next clue, and eventually you got your present somewhere. No, I'm all you want. Hey, good
No.
job to my parents.
No,
That was fun. Like when it was a big gift, right? Like a bike or something cool. Like, yeah, they made me kind of earn it a little bit. And it was fun.
Huh.
All right. Well, I will do that next time we see you at Christmas. We'll make sure to put you on a scavenger hunt for something good, Jess, so you can experience the youth all over again. Okay.
I just really hope that there's whiskey.
All right, we can make that happen. So I would love to ask you, who deserves a present, right? Who's done a fantastic job this particular year in the planning world? And I'm gonna jump in first, just because I can.
Do it, because you have the microphone.
This isn't pandering, but some might take it as that. I can understand that. I'm gonna go with our current Secretary of Transportation. I think he's moving the needle, man. And I know that not everybody's perfectly content. There's always going to be a crowd that, is wanting 100% versus say 85 or whatever. But I think that for the first time in a long time, our country is sort of anyway talking about the world of planning and transportation, right? And we're talking about removing freeway sections that are particularly abysmal. We're talking about investments and things like transit and housing and other parts of things that are, I think, meaningful. And I don't know, he's going around the country. He's getting some people whipped up and sort of excited. I know it's transportation, so it only goes so far, right? But nevertheless, it's a far cry better than the last probably half a dozen secretaries of transportations that we've had. So if you're listening, we'd love to have you on, Secretary Buttigieg. We'd chat with you and make a good whiskey pairing. Anybody out there who might know said secretary, let us know. We'd love to actually see if we can make that happen and have a good time with him and a a good conversation.
I
So
joke that it's good to have a transportation secretary that could probably pick out a protected bike lane from a police lineup. I mean, and most of the others couldn't even pick out a bike, I don't think.
No.
So yeah, I agree with that. When it's good to hear, going back to my comment on your text dot thing of, actually acknowledging these highways do disconnect people and have done so for decades, and at least some attempt to rectify that. I think, it's going to rear its head with the Texas DOTs of the world.
Yeah. All right. Which of you want to go next? We got a few more minutes left.
Okay, go, Jess. You're going to give Switzerland their web redemption?
I am. I'm going to show you two photographs that I took.
Oh, we're doing more picture show.
Wow.
Yeah,
you were inspired by Joe.
This was my favorite intersection. There was, and what's so funny is the intersection is not an intersection of two roads. This is an intersection of a huge sidewalk that has this huge cross. Look at this crossing lane. It is so big. And oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Now,
and
she's showing us kind of a 2-3 story urban footprint here, a fairly wide looking road, at least it seems, one lane in each direction, a turn lane. Is that like a separate parking lane? But here we have this probably
like a bus lane on
10
the
to
other
15 meter width crosswalk.
Yes, it was huge. It was wider than most DOT
because that was
highway
contextually
lanes.
appropriate.
It was wider than a DOT highway lane. It was amazing. And it was all for people. It was all for people. They had their own stoplights and everything. And
it's great.
Could
really
they put a tree in it? I mean,
Nice.
That's probably the one thing.
And the funny thing is, this is kind of a little small town. This was.
I think we're missing the broader point here, however, Jess, and let this be a warning to anybody who listens to this podcast that is, maybe less than 3 years into the profession. You too will soon be going on amazing trips around the world and coming home with pictures of the freaking infrastructure,
crosswalks and toilets.
That's what we do. I mean, so much is known about this country, right? But yet here we are. And Jess, to be fair, Dawn and I do the exact same damn thing and are so curious.
You do.
I know.
Y'all are mean. You're mean. You take out your tape measures and measure how messed up a push button is.
I take a smart level, Jess. Come on. I know the slope of curb ramps near and far. Right. And by the way, this one we were looking at, and kudos to the USA, maybe they get the thing. This doesn't have any truncated domes or detectable warnings crossing the streets for people with vision disabilities like we have here in the US. So, there's something we have up on Switzerland.
I mean, look,
besides
be
more
careful.
intuitive
I don't
codes.
remember. And I wasn't showing you at my feet. So I'm not sure. I was too freaked out about how big that crossing lane was. Okay, now this was the other thing that I really, really loved about Switzerland.
Okay, make it quick. We got to get going. Dawn's last one here.
Of course, this is wayfinding signs to different, they call them Dorflies. A Dorf is a town, and a Dorfli is like a little village. And the best part here, right in the middle, do you all see what that is? You see what's happening? This is the rollerblading route.
Oh, is that? I can't see. I can't tell. So you're telling me there's a whole bunch of crazy Swiss rollerbladers?
It's everywhere.
They have protected rollerblade lanes. Is that what you're saying?
It's a path, and I mean, I guess you can write other things on it, but it'll tell you, here's the rollerblade path, just like we might do. This is the bike route. This is the rollerblade route.
Well, Don and I have a good friend who is an avid rollerblader and would appreciate this treatment and out with his hockey stick and practicing. Very nice.
I loved it.
Nice.
I loved it.
Right.
It was amazing. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, Don, what do you got before we wrap up this?
All right, my big gift
episode?
under the tree. I'm going to go a little bit far afield here. I'm going to go Napa County, California.
Oh.
Yeah.
And this is recently, they started a program to give forgivable loans to property owners who build accessory dwelling units that meet certain affordability criteria.
Go Napa. Geez.
Think about that. So kind of a 2-bedroom, 800 square foot unit might cost $340,000 to build. A base forgivable loan with other county incentives and a state grant could total $145,000, leaving $195,000 for the homeowner to cover. A 400 square foot studio of $180,000 to build would have a base forgivable loan and other incentives to total $85,000, leaving $95,000. And the homeowner has to agree to rent to someone earning at or below 80% of the median income for a period of 5 years. And I mean, I personally, and will say, and said for a long time, this whole housing and affordability issue is probably the biggest policy challenge, maybe policy failure of our profession, both nationally, state level, local. And I know everybody likes to go, oh, California, wait a minute. No, this is a tool that most places could put in some form to help incentivize that. So kudos to them. I hope others follow. Is it the best program? Who knows? It's brand new, but at least they're willing to try something.
And folks, just remember, Napa is a little place in the country in California. Yeah. I mean, that is a lot of labor, hard labor workers, unskilled labor and things out there. And it's a little place. And not everybody's a big wine tycoon or whatever you want to call them. So that is amazing.
And it's still a service sector area. We hear it a lot in the resort communities here in Idaho and in other places we go. So I imagine that's the same. But I mean, we've got affordability issues in Salina, Kansas, and Pocatello, Idaho, and other things.
And Anchorage, Alaska, where nobody even wants to live.
This is no longer a small, a boutique city or a Bay Area kind of thing. So yeah, kudos to them for coming up with something to try to incentivize that whole effort.
Ooh, so one more fact about wine country. They get 3 million visitors a year. That's what they get. That's their tourism. Orange County, Florida, where Disney is.
Oh yeah.
75 million visitors a year. So explain to me why we shouldn't be doing these things.
And 30 million pay to skip the lines at Disney World, which just pisses off everybody else, right? I mean,
I would do that. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
that's a whole different set of circumstances going on in that particular. Oh, and I think that'll be resolved this year. The Florida legislature having attempted to try and somehow force Disney to pay up on all the taxes. I don't remember what it was, but yeah,
get rid of their status as a independent city.
It's going to force the state to come up
Reedy
with
Creek
a whole bunch of
district.
money, and yeah.
Oh,
don't worry, the mouse outsmart him. The mouse do what he's doing.
The mouse do what he do. Yeah.
Well, we bring it back to Mickey Mouse's Christmas Carol and Scrooge's. So good job.
I love Duck.
So maybe Scrooge has, a chance to be better in 2023 as a planner. There's some lessons to be learned. Scrooge, do not go take an internship with the Texas DOT.
Ooh.
Go and take an internship in Napa, and hopefully you can figure out the bathroom situation in Switzerland. And
he wouldn't pay for that.
He'd be like, what?
No.
Look, room for improvement. That's all I'm saying.
He would do what they do in France and do it in the bushes.
A little bit more user friendly, maybe just some instructions and pictures on the back of the wall.
There we go. All right. Well, hopefully we can make that change. We'll write a letter and put all of our force behind it and see if we can make that world a better and less wet place, apparently. So
how about 500 form emails like you're used to getting as a planning commissioner?
Yes. Okay, Chris.
Well, I think we got to call it good. That's 2022, 20 episodes. Today is our 20th episode. And
oh my gosh.
I know, right? Cheers to us. Cheers to us and our guests and the folks that we have forthcoming. I'm excited. There's going to be, I think, some pretty awesome things in store for us, and we look forward to it. So to my fellow commissioners, thank you for being part of this crazy little silly journey with me, and cheers to you as well for all that you do to make this a special thing.
Yeah, I'll put forth a motion to adjourn for the year.
So moved.
All right. Okay. Well, listeners, thank you for your time. You know what to do. Hopefully like us on YouTube, Amazon, Apple, all the other ways. And we've gotten a few suggestions, and those suggestions are leading to an episode, just so that you know we do listen to them. And if
please
you got
email
more,
us.
Yeah, email us away all the ways you can.
And where can you find us? How would someone email us?
Just look us up at the Planning Commission podcast and all of the ways there. Gmail, we're at the Planning Commish at Gmail, and
message through Facebook, through Instagram,
Facebook page, smoke signals, carrier pigeons. I don't know what other ways happen.
I accept dog sled letters.
Yes, there you go. Commissioners, thank you for all that you do. It's been a wonderful first 20 episodes in 2022. We'll see you in 2023. All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll keep doing better. Appreciate it. Have a good one. Listener. Hey, listener, that's you. Would you like more content? Well, if you would, check out our YouTube page. Watch us there. Go to our Facebook page. Like us there. We do live episodes about every couple weeks, and all of our episodes are available on both of those platforms, in addition to Apple, Spotify, and a whole bunch of other places where you get your podcasts. Tell us what you think. What about some guests or organizations that you think we should interview? We're game. Let us know. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it. We'll try to keep up the good work. Now get back to your packet.